Hello, everybody. My name is Mr. Dela Cruz. This is the first pilot episode of a podcast at South San Francisco High School. For now, we'll call it the WarriorCast or the Youth Cast. I don't know, whichever people like. But from here on out, we're hoping that we can generate more people to participate in this podcast. One thing I want to say about this podcast is that it is unique in that we are trying to shine, or at least expose people listening to youth voices and to sort of undo notions of, or the stereotype that South Cities is quote-unquote ghetto school, or that young people are arrogant and incapable of having rational conversations about topics and to go into it with great depth. But nonetheless, without taking up so much time, I want to get into this podcast. Today, our topic is on the Filipino immigrant experience at South San Francisco High School and, larger local community. But also, I'll have folks first introduce themselves. Maybe we'll start from our left. Maybe just say your name, what grade, what grade you're in. Yeah, we'll keep it simple for now, and then we'll get into more depth. We'll start with Krisha.
Hi, my name is Krisha Fernandez, and I'm in 11th grade.
Hi, my name is Cheska and I'm in 12th grade.
Hi, my name is Reyn, and I'm a senior.
Okay, so the way I brought these people together was I was asking around, who are Filipino immigrant students that have been or lived in the Philippines for at least 10 years and are now here in America, because I think they would have a great deal of experience in terms of knowing how it is in comparison to America. All right, I'll do this. I'll play a game with you, okay, and just respond organically. You're gonna tell me if the number is higher or lower. Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. There are 80 million people in the Philippines. Higher or lower?
Higher.
Higher. Yes, 92 million people in the Philippines. Of those 92, it's actually 92.2, according to PBS.org. Of those millions, right? How many of those millions are working overseas? They call them OFWs, overseas Filipino workers.
I would say at least more than half, or at least half.
At least half?
At least half.
So you mean like 45 million?
Yeah.
I mean, I've had a bunch of my family members are OFWs. How I perceive it is that most people look to other countries to get a brighter future.
Okay. I'll give you a number. 20 million. Higher or lower?
Higher.
Really higher? It's actually lower.
Oh.
Okay. But maybe it feels higher because your family might have the means to migrate.
Right.
Yeah.
So if we're talking about folks that can migrate, maybe Filipinos that live in what are they called? The bundok, right?
Yeah.
Like the
mountains.
Explain what's the bundok for people.
In the hills, they kind of live in isolated area and
And
huts.
usually they're more so of the natives.
Right, straight indigenous.
Yeah.
Like they never wore shoes.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Right.
they usually
they're sometimes naked.
wear feathers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, or they're headhunters. Do headhunters still exist in the Philippines?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think my grandpa he got robbed. He was a merchant. He got robbed by headhunters.
Whoa.
He was in the wrong part of the mountain.
Oh yeah, I think it's because he invaded a certain territory. That's why.
Right, so he didn't know anyone, so they robbed him. He was okay. He survived. But the real number is 10 million. 10 million. 10
Right.
million overseas. Did I say that already? They leave. And the biggest country, the country that they all go to, guess what? Guess what it is?
America.
America. Well, guess what's second, which is quite shocking?
Canada.
Dubai.
Saudi Arabia.
I was just
Oh
gonna say
yeah,
that.
my
Yeah.
auntie is still there.
You got families?
Yeah.
What does she do there?
She's a nurse.
Oh, okay.
Most of them are nurse.
And what else? Do you have families in other places?
Dubai and Singapore. for
Okay,
me.
Dubai.
Some are
Singapore.
also in Canada.
Canada is big too.
Yeah.
Australia is really big.
Yeah.
You have
I
family
have
in
family
Australia?
members there. They're all
Okay.
sprawled about everywhere, honestly.
Yeah, Filipino diaspora. Right?
Yeah.
We're this small island, but we've spread everywhere. We're everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
right? But there are other issues but we're not gonna go into it so much. But I've heard in Saudi Arabia, Filipinos are really low class citizens.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the reasons are. I can guess, but it is quite sad. Okay, let's get into like some, I won't call it personal stuff, but like maybe like your migration story. So perhaps maybe ask like, how did you get here? What year did you get here? And what was like your life compared? And I know y'all could go on for days, but maybe like something that's enough, but not too much, right? Because I got a lot of questions. I want to get you out of here on time. Yeah. Okay. So like, how did you get here? What was life like in the Philippines in comparison or in contrast to life now? Yeah. Maybe we'll go this way with Reyn.
Okay. So, well, I came here in 2009 with my mom. Originally, my immediate family, we were all from the Philippines. But my mom's sister, my ninang, she met a guy who immigrated here in the U.S. with his family because, just for like education and for work. And so, when she married the guy, she ended up immigrating here too. And then my ninang's husband had a friend who my mom ended up marrying. That's my dad now, and he was also from the Philippines, from Mindanao. And so we, as a family, we decided that we should move here. And so it was my ninang, her husband, and my dad who were living here since I would say 1998, maybe a little bit earlier than that. And so it took a while for my mom and I to be petitioned by my dad, just because they had to get married first and all that paperwork and just that legal stuff. But we came here to just live a better life, I would say. Just because times were tough in the Philippines back then, and the poverty was at an all-time high when we were there. So that was a main issue. We also wanted to, I guess, because the rest of our family are poor in the Philippines, or the rest of our clan. So my parents wanted a better life for me. That was why we came here.
What did your do you remember what your family did, or have they told you what they did in the Philippines?
Well, actually my grandparents also migrated here before my mom and I. They were petitioned by my nina, but my grandma she didn't have like a full stable job. She usually went around neighborhoods, painting their nails and selling Avon magazines.
Yeah.
To other neighbors, the wet thing, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
What's wet thing?
It's like a lottery.
Oh, okay.
Kind of like bet
Yeah.
on numbers.
Yeah, you
Something
bet on
like
numbers
that.
and then like they
Even
draw.
even people our age can participate.
Oh, they
I did
draw within the
once before.
community, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mom tells me this story. And jump here real quick, but it's real quick. My uncle, my lolo, my mom's uncle. That's my lolo uncle, my grand uncle. Yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah.
He was like corrupt. Like he would have these fixed lotteries.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where his friends would win and.
Their odds were in their favor,
Well,
but the rest of the
that's-
players they weren't.
It's
Yeah.
crazy that it's actually quite common among.
Mhm. Yeah.
I thought it was just like within his.
Yeah, it
culture.
was a daily thing to see my besides my grandma who used to do that, there was another lady who I witnessed when I was growing up in the Philippines when I lived there, who would come by like each house every day. She had like a pen and tucked behind her ear, and she would just had like a little notepad, and she would just list down
those
like
numbers.
yeah.
So that was like her side hustle. Avon boxes, painting nails.
That was mainly her job. Just
legitimate
yeah.
or illegitimate lottery.
It's questionable.
We need to ask your grandma.
But it's because she never had the chance to go beyond high school, and that's the same thing for my grandpa too. My grandpa worked as a Jeep driver for a little bit before he moved to Dubai for a little bit. I wasn't born yet. This was when
Jeepney or just Jeep?
Jeep, like jeepney. You know, like
Oh,
those.
jeepney.
Yeah, those.
Yeah, jeepney.
Like who take the fares of the people and
Mga
then,
jeep.
yeah.
Jeepney.
So yeah, that's what that's what they did. It wasn't a stable job. It was more of like
Part-time.
whatever you make a day is what you get. It wasn't like you were working for an employer. It was just on their own.
Okay.
And they did that for years because they wanted to get my mom and her sister to college.
Okay.
Right.
Let's jump to Cheska and then we'll go back to like what was it like coming back.
Right.
Here.
So I arrived here last last year, February 21 or 22, 2016. So my mom actually wanted to go here because she wanted to take advantage of the educational and employment opportunities because she was a nurse back in the Philippines and she thought that it would be better to go to America because her hard work would pay off more compared in the Philippines. But then she ended up marrying this guy. Well, not this guy, but my dad right now.
Mm-hmm.
It was really unexpected and it wasn't that sudden because like they've been talking for a while and so yeah.
He was a citizen?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
was it like through like pen pals or something like that?
they were it's because my grandmother is friends with the mother of that guy,
okay.
so like they got to know each other because of a Pacquiao game.
Oh wow.
It was actually, I think it was through a video call. My grandmother was like, "Anak, he won! He won, anak!" Yeah, and then the guy was right there, and then they just like kind of talked to each other about boxing and stuff, and Pacquiao being sometimes corrupt and sometimes good to our society because he brings
but
honor
this is
to
Pacquiao when he was like starting.
Yeah.
You owe your existence to Pacquiao?
No, I used to because when as a child I thought that he brings honor to our country because he's
I thought too.
yeah,
I
but
thought
right
so.
now it's just
It changed a lot for me too.
I'm gonna
He's
be brave.
broken our hearts. Yeah, he's broken
I'm
our
against
hearts.
him,
Yeah.
and I'm proud to say that I'm against him.
But maybe explain like why we Filipino has since for people that don't know.
Because Manny Pacquiao, I've heard that based on the sources that I checked out, he was on drugs when he was 17. He got involved in drugs, and instead of like him being taken to the jail or being detained or whatever, like the barangay or the other people who's in charge of that community just let him go because he thought that he can actually improve more, and that's when he got into boxing and stuff. And thinking of him as a part of the Senate right now in the Philippines just
It's hypocritical. I
yeah,
would
it's
say.
hypocritical because our president is slaying people who are even child, even like people under 18. Recently there was a child who just got executed by the police officers. He's 17 years old because he was involved in selling drugs, but he never actually take those drugs for him. He just wanted to support his family, and he feels like it's the best way for him to get money. And Pacquiao did that too, but he's still here. He's still alive. And it's just unfair, like the president could have given him a chance to prove himself, just like what the other officials during Pacquiao's time did to him. And he's also against gay people.
Yeah, very homophobic.
Yeah.
Just because of his religion, I believe.
He lost
Yeah,
his
I think
sponsors out over that.
Yeah.
Like, I
He
think
lost a
was
lot
like,
of support.
He was saying gay people should burn in hell or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something to that effect. Like, and then Nike pulled out or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. Continue.
So yeah, they met because of a Pacquiao game or a fight. Yeah, they met because of that, and then he visited the Philippines, and then he just hangs out with us. We went to different places in the Philippines, like to the beach, just the landmarks, just tourist spots and everything. And we really liked his company because like he's really nice, but at the same time he's not the kind of person that you usually expect from an American guy. Like he's had that kind of level of respect that most Filipino women expect.
Because a lot of Filipino parents who they perceive people from different
Yeah.
countries as disrespectful, they don't succumb to our culture. That means that they're
They're different.
Americanized,
And they think that just because Filipino women sometimes marry white men, they think that Filipina is pokpok, or you would say whore in English language or in vernacular English language. They think that that's a really bad thing, that woman is just marrying the guy for the sake of money, wealth, and like stepping on the ground of the great nation. But like there's more to it. Not all people are like that. So like I'm really grateful that people here in South City don't see us that way just because my stepdad is white and my mom is Filipino. So yeah,
Wait, so were you born? You weren't born yet, right?
no, I was born already.
Oh, you were born already.
Yeah.
Okay.
When the Pacquiao fight happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Just.
Oh, so you don't owe your existence to Pacquiao.
No, I don't.
Maybe your immigration. No, I was kidding.
I owe it to
I'm
European
joking.
historians.
It's your folks, your parents. What was your mom doing? What was your mom doing in terms of
Back in the Philippines
Yeah.
during that time, she was working at the call center, So basically, she takes your calls 'cause since your carrier is AT&T and Verizon. She was taking those calls, and people think that just because someone came from the Philippines, they can speak English. I mean, they do have the accents, but we take those calls. Thank you for calling AT&T. How may I help you? I would always hear her practicing in the bathroom, like taking calls. Okay, sir, would you like me to get your to get the last serial number of your phone and stuff like that? I was like, oh, that's my mom. She works in the Philippines, but she handles calls from the U.S. At first, I couldn't believe it. I thought she was lying, but then as I grew up and I visited her workplace and just to check it out, because I feel like it's where I'm gonna end up anyway. So yeah, I figured that they're doing something big like for other countries as well. I mean, like your phone broke down and you can't make calls. My mom was there to answer your call and your complaints. So she didn't go to the hospital to like actually practice her degree, that the degree that she earned in bachelor's of science in nursing, because it's just really bad. I mean, you're doing a lot of work, but it's not compliant with the salary that you get, and it's not worth it.
And it's the conditions in the Philippines.
Yeah, and also you're gonna have to start with public hospitals in the Philippines if you just gained your bachelor's degree, and public hospitals are just, they're really bad because it's not air conditioned.
Yeah.
And imagine all those people, patients, in like gathered in one room, and it's really hot. So it's not like a good thing or an experience for her, that she, that's why she preferred working in a more professional ground.
So it was my dad's family who moved here first, and he was originally going to petition my mom, my sister, and me, but it took a while, so I didn't really get to meet him and kind of become close to him until I moved here in 2012, so it was like 5 years ago. And my mom got held back because there was something wrong with her papers, so I was left. So it was my sister and me who moved here with my dad, so I was kind of sad because I didn't really know, but I wasn't really close to both my dad and my sister. So I always kind of felt alone because we were not a close family, and I feel like we're still not close now. But fortunately, my mom is finally here. She moved here like 2 years ago. So yeah. And
what was she doing?
My mom was a butcher. So
Oh wow.
yeah. It was kind of
like in the
butcher?
supermarket,
yeah.
like the palenque.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like
She's
SM
tough.
Mall, like
No.
it was like the
That's
palenque.
hard.
Yeah.
That's hard. My mom
Those
considered doing
places
that.
are dark.
Has
and,
she seen
like,
people like lose their fingers and
yeah.
Yeah, probably.
And the environment is like noisy.
yeah,
and,
she's
like,
used
people,
to
like,
that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
that's
And she should
props
be
to
like
her.
really quick.
I'm sure your mom has muscles still.
Yeah, she makes really good longanisa and tocino.
Wow.
Okay. Let's talk, since we're on this idea of like, this is Philippines, sort of painting this picture of the Philippines. What was it like first arriving in America? And was it what America was narrated to you, right? Did it match what your ideas of America was? And how was it like adjusting, in whatever environment that you were in, or are currently adjusting, because sometimes this is a lifelong adjustment.
Right. So because I was born in the Philippines and I was raised there before I came here, like when I was 8 years old, and so my dad has never been with us in the Philippines. He's always here working and like sending money here, just for the benefit of us. And so literally all my childhood, ever since I grew up, a bunch of my relatives will my entire childhood was anticipating my move here. That was the entire thing. Like my relatives would be like, "Oh, you're going to America, like you're so lucky, like you're gonna be rich, and are you gonna send money when you come there to us?" And it was just like a bunch of that, And so what they would tell me about America, because I didn't have a notion of America because I was a kid, and I thought America was like this. I honestly thought that America was like outer space, like it was so far away. But what my relatives would tell me, you're gonna be rich there, and like you're gonna have a good life there. And for me, when I as a kid, I would believe that, okay, so this is a place where I can prosper at. Where I also thought that I didn't have to work hard because they made it seem like it was an easy place to rise up in. So when I got here, it was definitely different from what they mentioned, because not that it's their fault because they've never been here, but everything was harder just because I didn't, well, first of all, family, because I didn't since I didn't grow up with the people here, like it was really hard to adjust, and I was like bullied sometimes by my like own cousins because I had like a Filipino accent, when I first got here. But the notion that they gave me that oh yeah, like America is this magical place where the streets are golden and people who are Americans, they're so like, it's just a big opportunity for you. Well, it is still like that to me. It's not as homely as it was perceived to me when I was a kid. So yeah.
I definitely agree with the things that you said, because that was kind of what my relatives also put in my mind as well. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Was it pictures that they sent that was like what was the propaganda? Like, was it
there
pictures?
Wasn't even like pictures. Well, my family here, my dad and like my ninang would send me pictures of them in heavy jackets in front of the Golden Gate and like next to like their cars. Like I thought the streets were like, there was no dirt on the streets here, because like compared to the Philippines, right? There's garbage everywhere. The rivers are like dirty, and but like the pictures that they shown, it was clear. So I thought that, like, okay, like that's the big difference. That was that's what I pictured. I pictured as like paradise for me.
And you've been here for how long?
Let's see, 2009, 10, 11, 12, 8 years. You're 8 years now.
And Krisha,
5 years.
and you just got here.
1 year. Yeah.
Is it still the same? Because in my generation, that was the same. The tourist pictures, the Disneyland pictures, taking pictures next to cars that you don't own was the propaganda.
That's
that,
true.
That pulled
And they
my
like
relatives to
sported
America.
like USA sweaters and like San Francisco shirts and
knockoff brand name.
Like, I love SF, I love NY shirts.
yeah.
But was it different for you, or is it pretty much more
I
or
would
less
say
the same?
that it's a little different already. I mean, the facilities are nice. It's really nice compared to the Philippines, and it smells better here compared to the Philippines, because like it's just pollution everywhere. I mean, you're in the park, but you can still smell smoke. Unlike here in unlike here in US, it's just, I wouldn't say it smells good, but it smells better. Like a lot better.
Wow, I didn't think there was such a sharp contrast. But I'm American
really.
born, so I don't know.
But as for culture, I would say that it's totally different. Back in the Philippines, they would always tell me that, oh, you're gonna go there, you're gonna be rich, you need to send us money. Don't forget to like keep your feet on the ground when you arrive there. You better send us money. And I really thought that it was gonna be like that I'm going to prosper to like the highest level possible. But it's just not like that when I arrived here. It was really hard, mainly because I was culture shocked, but the fact that I'm a working student right now, and I also want to prioritize school and stuff. They think that I have it easy, because in the Philippines they think that school here is easy because of High School Musical, Camp Rock, those kind of movies. Like, they think that it's easy, that it's all about big lockers, nice classrooms, styled classrooms, and like lights like this. Because in the Philippines we use light bulbs and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, they think that it's that nice, and like I wouldn't have any problem because I can work. But they don't understand that you get paid minimum wage, or like $2 above minimum wage, and that's not even enough to compensate for your phone bills, because of course you're working to help out your family, and they think that just because you're working, it's easy for you, like you have the money.
The cost of living, right?
Yeah,
like,
it's
people don't
hard.
think about the cost of living.
Right.
It's
It's
really
like
hard.
they think about how much you get paid in regards to the cost of living. In
Yeah,
the
because they think
Philippines.
it's dollars.
Yeah.
Right.
That
But the
when
cost
you
of living is
Yeah, it's
super high in
different.
the area,
Mhm,
right?
definitely.
And that's a whole other issue. Reyn mentioned accents, so I did a survey of 36 students. I did a small survey, and I asked them what was the accent that they found most attractive. Yeah,
Right.
I'll read off the accents. You tell me just initially, what do you think was the most attractive accent and what was the least attractive accent.
Okay.
British
And then maybe it was
accent.
the one that was in the middle. So these were the accents that I surveyed people, and it was I asked them like a scale from 1 to 5, 5 being the most attractive, right? 5 would be like if you spoke that language, I need to like get your. I don't know how people like date these days. I need to get your Instagram and is that how y'all do it? I'm old school, you know. But anyways, that would be a 5, and 1 would be like,
Email.
you know what, romantic relationship is not in question. We could just be friends, or we could just be following each other on the internet or whatever.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Okay, so here's the 5 accents. Well, not 5, 6. Okay, so there was American, Spanish, British, French, Chinese, and Filipino. Which one do you think was the highest?
French or British.
British, I would definitely say British.
Okay, what about the middle?
Italians.
Did he say Italian?
No. I'm surprised.
American,
that-
Spanish, British, French, Chinese, Filipino.
Probably American.
American would definitely be middle.
What do
Or
you think?
Spanish.
What do you think was the lowest?
Chinese. I think Chinese was the
Chinese, yeah.
lowest.
Yeah, I agree.
This is deep, right? I mean, okay, so I did this, and so what I basically did was just add, right? Whoever had the most 5s, I added all numbers and just by total number. Okay, the highest one was British. A total of 148 points. Yeah.
Wow.
So people, even when in this diverse school of South City, and people who are not familiar with South City High School, were about 50% Latino, 21% Filipino, and then the rest is Asian, you know, Polynesian, so on and so forth, right? So yeah, 148. The middle, what's our middle here? The middle is Spanish. No, French. The middle is French.
That's my middle.
115.
Eurocentric.
115. However, it right above it was Spanish, just 121. 121. The lowest was, you guessed it, it was Chinese, 85 points.
So where are we?
Filipinos actually scored pretty high. Actually, they scored second high. However, I did survey people from the Philippines.
Oh.
Sampling bias.
There was some sample bias.
Yeah.
At least.
So they think that
20 of them.
Filipino accents are attractive. That's what they think in the Philippines.
In some way, but
There was 9 that gave Filipinos a 5, but it also could have been that I was interviewing them. I was Filipino himself, and they were like, "Let's not offend Mr. De La Cruz because he's Filipino."
I know,
So
because
they maybe bumped up the score a little bit. But I reminded them like, "Hey, I'm not here. Just be honest, But what's the deal with accents? Like, why do you think this is happening? And do you feel like having a Filipino accent maybe lowers somebody's social stock?
On the surface level, I would definitely think that just because they sound different is a main issue, because when your first impression of somebody when you're talking to them maybe the way they talk, and if they hear automatically that you have an accent, whether it be like Chinese or whatever, like they're gonna automatically think that okay, this person is different. So it varies on which type of accent you have. So like you said, if it's a British accent, the person would automatically think like, oh, they would think highly of that person. But if it's Chinese or if it's Spanish or if it's Filipino, they would assume that they can, I guess, lower their view on you. I think that's what I believe.
It's like a form of social classification for me, because I work in Target and I've experienced it a lot of times. So I started working at Target last year, December, and back then my accent was really, really thick. Like I would always slip my accent, and then some American guests we call them guests, not customers. They're just like, what did you say? Like, I know they're trying to offend me, but I just go with it. I just do my job. So, and I was also in mock trial last year, and I'm still in mock trial right now. Whenever I would tell people that I'm the defense attorney of mock trial, they will always be like, "You're in mock trial?" Like, I know what they mean. I know
There's
that
a
they're
hint of surprise there. Yeah.
They're mocking me because I'm Filipino and my accent, and I'm new here. So I know for sure that
Like
they're
implying that you're inarticulate because of your
exactly.
because of my accent.
But if you had a British accent, they wouldn't even like.
I wouldn't stop
Maybe
talking.
they wouldn't say that you were imply
Yeah.
that.
We can always trace it back to history, where like Europeans, they've always, for the most part, they were a developed country as opposed to Philippines.
And they
But
colonized
developed
us
is such a loaded word.
because it
That's
means
true.
that
You
we're
know what I
down there.
mean?
Yeah,
We're down
Yeah.
there and we just developed.
yeah.
Right. Develop is a loaded word. Like, there's
And
things-
what scale?
Yeah, there's things culturally that indigenous people, be it Filipinos or Native Americans, that do that I feel like we should do. Right? Or the notion that we should be more a collective society as opposed to so individual and so competitive in terms of cutting each other down, right? I feel like America makes people into that way in some cases, right?
Like what Cheska said, there's some social classification. It also isolates different groups of people in that way.
Did you deal with teasing growing up, or
For my accent.
for your accent?
Well, I talked to my friend before, and he said that he never actually noticed that I had an accent until I told him, which I was kind of surprised about. So yeah,
So lucky.
I don't know.
But I know that, but a lot of people, because I teach EL, and once in a while I have Filipino students, not this year, but the ones tend to have good English, because in the schools they
Like
teach.
it's different when they write it, when they write the words down.
Yeah.
And when they say it.
But in the schools they teach English,
Yeah.
right? In
Yeah.
the Filipino schools, and I mean it's definitely linked to like colonialism, or,
Right.
or the fact that Philippines was American territory for many years. Let's talk. I mean, like this sort of links to the idea of like this social hierarchy, right? Is that's what we were saying. So I interviewed Filipinos and I asked them this question. I said this statement. I asked them how much they agreed with it, right? There is a divide between Filipinos born in America and Filipinos born in the Philippines. And for initial, like, what are your thoughts on this?
I think it's true.
I agree. I think there is a divide.
Okay, and actually most people, 5 people have said they strongly agree. They feel like there was a wide divide,
I strongly agree.
and then most people said that there was somewhat a divide. So yes, they somewhat agree. Only one person strongly disagreed.
When you mentioned that, the word fob just like
Fresh off the boat. Yeah.
Well,
dinged up in my head.
Okay, so Fob what was it again?
Fresh off the boat.
Right, like why this divide? Why is there in terms of this, is there a power imbalance here, and does one assume more power or more status than the other group?
I think both of them assumes power in their own ways because people who are freshly from the Philippines, they think that Filipinos who grew up here are like on the lower class of society because they wear crop tops, because they wear shorts. And that's like it's a common misconception in the Philippines that if you wear those kind of clothes, you're a slut, a whore, or whatever they call it, because it's against Catholic schools. Like you can't go to school wearing shorts or crop tops or sleeveless. So whenever they see Filipinos wearing those types of clothes here in US, they automatically think that that person is so unrighteous, it's so inappropriate and stuff. While for other people or other Filipinos who grew up here in America, they think that Filipinos who just arrived here are fobs, but they don't even know that they're also like them. They're also Filipinos. I mean, ethnically speaking, they would always not all of them, but some of them would think that they're above those Filipinos who just arrived here because they have earned that kind of social status and
Right.
like that kind of lifestyle that those Filipinos attain to have. I mean,
I could
constant
definitely resonate with that because when I first got here, I always looked down on people on Filipinos who were either raised here earlier than that or who were born here because, like you said, crop tops. I was like, oh, that's so disrespectful. Like,
yeah, that's what I thought too.
I can't believe your mom lets you out of the house in that, or because they don't fit into the social custom of what it is in the Philippines.
Culture.
But then I grew up, I started growing up here, and then I became on the other side where, well, not
It's
really on the
fine,
other side.
I just realized.
I was in the
been
middle,
here for
like
a year.
seeing it. Yeah,
I've only been here for a year, but I opened my mind to it. I was like, there's nothing wrong with this one. Like, if you wear crop tops, if it doesn't disrupt any any environment or learning facilities, it's all right. Like, just wear what you want. If it makes you feel confident, then go for it.
yeah.
But I think that some people who just arrived here don't see it that way, and it might take time for them to understand that if they open their mind. But some of them are just like really close to like, understanding those kind of ideals.
I actually never saw it that way. I felt like there was this power dynamic where like the ones that were born here saw themselves as better, and I always saw like the ones born in the Philippines were like these poor victims that.
Oh, actually.
I mean, not that I see them as like the poor ones, like poor children that are defenseless, but it would create tension because I grew up in the '90s and I went to Balboa High School and it was a lot of Filipinos. And during that time, a lot of Filipinos that born in the Philippines would actually get into like gang fights with Filipinos born in America.
Yeah, but actually, it's different in a way that those people who have like a notable job in here, like for example, they're engineers or like doctors, and they're Filipinos. Sometimes they pretend that they don't speak Tagalog. Like I've encountered it like most before, even in my own relatives, they would always be like. Sometimes when they're talking to like employees at a local store or just groceries.
Is that survival or self-hate?
I don't even know. They're just like, I'm sorry, what did you say? But it's obvious in their accent that they know how to speak Tagalog, but they pretend like they don't know how to speak Tagalog. Especially when they're wearing that Stanford Medical whatever, the shirts. And
you ever hear it reminds me of the Joe Coy comedy bit where he talks about his uncle who tries to cover up his accent.
Oh,
but
I think I've seen
by
that,
trying to cover it up, he sounds like Elvis.
Oh yeah.
So he's like, "Hey Joe, let me talk to you, Joe." Right? But like it's this. He tries to cover it up. Do you feel like Filipinos self-hate their culture?
Yeah.
That they engage
definitely.
in self-hate, like or even Filipinos in the Philippines, like
They do.
What's Escanol? What's skin whitening lotion? Like,
oh yeah, culture.
European beauty standards. That's
And Korean. Well, actually, it's also Korean now.
And Korean too, yeah. Because you'll see in the media in the Philippines a bunch of women in business and in the media, like they're shown to kind of uphold the ideals of like what American Filipinos who would be born who have American dads or American moms, like
that if you're tan, you're in the social class of the
you're
poor.
you're automatically, just because you're dark skinned, automatically you are
ugly for them.
You're not accepted or you're shamed for that, and that's why the papaya soaps.
Well, actually, there's a history about that.
Like beyond like just being shamed, isn't there actual like job consequences? Like, aren't all the actresses light skinned? Like,
no.
Do you mean as it being a requirement?
Like in the Philippines, like aren't politicians more light skinned, or I don't know what that is? Are the majority of them light skinned? Does it correlate to like power or access to positions of power or wealth?
I think that plays
ways.
a part of it. Yeah.
Because most people admire celebrities who are fair in complexion compared to the ones that are, I mean, if you're a morena or like a tan skinned person, you should be, if you're that kind of person, you should be half. Like you should be half African American and half Filipino. But if you're like pure Filipino and you're tan skin, they'll just be like, oh,
so the
why is she
idea
dark?
of being
colonialism, yeah.
Wow,
It's a
I
mentality,
never saw it that way. That being more Filipino, but that's even problematic to say someone's more Filipino than someone that's half.
Yeah.
But someone that has two Filipino parents has a lower status than say someone.
Right.
When it should not be an issue, or it should be pretty much even based on the merit of talent. But yeah, mestizo or mestiza, they say it. Like, I mean, I grew up and I'm a light-skinned Filipino, and they'd be like, "Oh, you look like mestizo," but they always said it in a way that was a compliment.
And sometimes they would also shame other people for it. Like, for example, if you dye your hair blonde, some people would think that, oh, it looks pretty on her. It makes her feel confident, so it makes her look prettier. And some people would think that, oh my God, why did she dye her hair blonde? Is she an American wannabe? But they themselves is also an American wannabe. So like, what you do with your appearance also resonates like their ideals about you. Especially when you like try to get fair skin, or like when you get highlights or like blonde highlights.
I mean, just look at the celebrities in the Philippines. There's like Nadine Lustre and who is like she's considered as a mestiza, but like You guys know who Pokwang is?
Yeah.
Like, she has, like, darker complexion, and she's not taken as seriously.
Yeah.
And the way she's been reinforced in the media is not the same as how, like...
I think she looks beautiful, but people don't take her seriously.
Yeah.
Well, she's a comedian, but because she looks like that, like she doesn't fit the standards of the people like, because she looks like that, like they think that she's ugly. She's not taken seriously compared to other celebrities like Julia Barreto, because Julia Barreto looks like a Hispanic Americana, but she's not. She's like full Filipino, but they still think that she's prettier because she has pointy nose and long hair, and she's really tall. So
Yeah, nose is another issue too. Nose
I was shamed in my family
Are
as
nose
a
jobs
kid.
becoming more popular in the Philippines now? Like,
What do you mean by jobs?
like nose jobs?
Nose jobs.
Is it increasing? Like,
I saw one thing online where there was this celebrity who got a nose job, and apparently like a bunch of people are like becoming more fans of him. Like,
So they're standardizing it, basically.
yeah, it's such an appearance-based society, I feel like.
Yeah, it really is.
yeah, I mean, we can go with every. I mean, almost in every ethnic group, there's always skin politics, and oftentimes
Yeah.
white is better. I mean, other folks can sort of see. I mean, even like within Jewish, I hear that like a lot of Jewish folks like get nose jobs because they say that
The stereotype within them
they
that
tend to
they
have larger noses.
Yeah.
But yeah, that seems to be almost like normalized within that community, which is, but it's different when we talk about people of color, because yes, there's always these sort of standards within show business, like you have to be this way, and it's almost like if you're ugly, then you better be funny.
Yeah,
exactly.
So
If
you
you
can
dark,
be useful.
Yeah, if you dark and ugly, the only way you're gonna be on TV is you got good jokes. Yeah. Right? Outside of that, you better look good.
I can like
Right.
name top of the people in my head in the Philippines and
Like Dolphy, that's an ugly dude. I grew up watching Dolphy.
Chocolate or
Yeah.
whatever his name is, Chocolate.
Yeah, it's chocolate.
Yeah.
Is he dark?
He's
Really
unattractive by
Yes.
Hollywood standards.
Yeah.
right?
The
Exactly.
nose.
And he's there as a comedian, nothing else. Yeah.
And so like that, but with people of color, it's another layer to it, right? Is this pressure to aspire to be like more white or more European, right? But for like white folks, it's just like just look good, you know. There's not that extra layer of like let me try and appear, because even like have you ever been to like Daiso or like those Japanese stores
Yeah.
like Ichiban?
Yeah.
Like they sell those like was it the eyelid fold? Have you seen those?
No.
Like you could put
Oh,
tape,
yeah,
so
like
that you
women
can-
put tape, yeah.
Because it's more attractive to have a double eyelid.
It's also like it's like that
Oh.
for most Asian cultures.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
like
Really?
They sell them in Korean, like
From Korean to
that's
Japanese to
what-
China
Japanese.
and
But if
Philippines.
you go to like they have those. It's always such an interesting thing to. But like for me, I don't know. Like I never noticed that until someone pointed that out. But I didn't even think like, oh, that's a game changer. Like, oh, this
That
one is
it's a
more
thing.
attractive because they have an eyelid fold. Like, to me, it just seems so irrelevant. Like who's looking at that stuff? But maybe I'm just weird that way. Okay, I did this one survey, and and I'll tell you what I found and what I thought was interesting. And the question was, I feel more culturally American than I feel Filipino. Yeah, and so I interviewed people who were born in the Philippines and people who were born in America. And most people that were born in America, we can probably guess that they all thought what?
Culturally American.
Yeah, culturally they thought we're American. Actually, there were 3 Philippine-born people that said they felt more American. Strongly agreed, right? Most of them, and then there was 2 that said they somewhat agreed, and then 3 that were American-born that said they somewhat agreed that they felt. And then there was like everyone that said strongly disagreed, they felt more Filipino, were like all Philippine-born. I mean, what do you think about that? Or where do you stand in terms of where you feel like as more culturally American, more culturally Filipino? Are you in the middle, you know?
I would say I'm in the middle because my work ethics fall on the Filipino culture side.
Definitely me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
My work ethics is like I'm not letting go of my culture in terms of my work ethics.
Yeah, because it's not just because of like, it's facts, because Filipino families and Filipino American families usually they're raised to be school and academic centered.
Right. Sometimes they call it third world hustle.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have the third world hustle in the first world, right? The mentality is that informed by parents or the idea that you know where you came from?
I know where I came from. Like I've always questioned my own identity. Like, what do I really want in life? Who am I? Who am I really? Because when I started going here in South City, I thought that I was this perfect Filipino person because I work hard than everybody else. Instead of turning in a one-page short answer question, I would turn in like 2 to 3 pages. But then I realized that I'm being condescending, even though it's just to myself. I'm just thinking of it that way. But still, I felt like I'm being condescending to other people. And those people from the other culture are not thinking of it that way. I mean, like, there's nothing wrong with like turning in a one-page short answer question.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I just thought that there's that Filipino thing in me that thinks that I'm a lot better than everyone else. It's bad in most ways, but it's good in some ways, that because you instill that perseverance in yourself, but at the same time, success shouldn't be like that. Success shouldn't be composed of that kind of mentality. So I would say that I fall in the middle. Like I'm open to like other cultures' way of learning and their way of understanding things, but I still lean into my Filipino culture because it's more home to me. It feels more like it's home to me.
What about you, Krisha?
I definitely agree with the points that Cheska said, because I feel like I'm more culturally Filipino. I think it's also the way that that your parents brought you up in. Like they wouldn't let me forget that I'm a Filipino. They would they would instill these ideas that I should be proud that I'm a Filipino.
I definitely say I'm in the middle, but like still currently, even though I've been living here for 8 years, I'm still struggling to find a balance in preserving my Filipino identity, but finding a way to fit in to American society.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I will say I envy, like, particularly Chinese, because I feel like in many Chinese communities, they institutionalize the transmission of their culture. Like, they have Chinese school.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we don't do that with Filipinos. And,
Yeah.
and it's saddening. Like, I think they just started one in Southern California. And it was, like, the first school. And we're talking 2013 or something.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it should have been a long time coming. But for as long as I remember, I would go to church with a lot of Chinese kids, and they had Chinese school, right? And so they were able to transmit language and culture that came with it. And I feel like even to this day, there's something missing in terms of me not knowing my language, and also the fear that like I won't be able to pass that on to my child. Mm-hmm. Not to say that it's over. Like I can always find some time to learn, grab a book, take a class of some sort. Luckily, my wife does know Tagalog, but I feel like part of it is that like families, they're like fearful. I don't want my child to learn to just speak English because he's gonna do horrible in school if he's doing both, right? So I feel like there's an issue of, but I think studies have shown that it doesn't really matter. Like it's better to actually raise your child to be bilingual.
Oh, actually, I talked to a petty officer in Navy last week, and then I asked him about the Navy itself, whether he would recommend the Navy to his child or children, and then he said that he definitely would. And then I asked if his children are speaking Tagalog or English or both, and then he was like, my first daughter, she learned Tagalog first before she learned English, and then the rest of my children only know English. And then I asked why did he stop teaching Tagalog, or why did he stop talking to them in Tagalog? And then he said that because his first daughter came here first and she grew up in a Tagalog speaking community, she had that accent, and she kind of had like difficulties in expressing herself in English. Like she was really slow. Like I know I have that, I kind of stutter, but he said that his daughter's case was worse. So when she starts going to school, people would make fun of her and stuff. So that kind of pushed him to teach his daughters, the rest of his daughters, to speak straight English from the moment they were born because they didn't want that to happen again. So I think that kind of fear is instilled in their family. That's why they chose to like teach their children just one language. I mean, it's good to be bilingual, but because of like social disputes and stuff, they were forced to make that kind of decision.
I would even say that about Latino. A lot of Latino families don't institutionalize it in the same way that Chinese families do, but they make it a point to make sure their child learns.
Yeah, I'm surprised with that. Like most Latinos and Latinas here, they know both languages, and I mean, like it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, because there's certain expressions that you cannot it does not translate
Yeah.
directly, and I feel like I missed something culturally. Like, I mean, like this is not like that deep, but like the like gigil. There's no English.
Yeah.
The closest thing like gigil is like you see something cute like a baby.
Oh yeah, like
and you want to just
Like
squeeze the
Khalid.
life out of it.
Yeah.
But not literally, but you know what I mean? But,
Yeah.
But that doesn't even itself doesn't capture what gigil is.
Yeah.
It's just, you feel it. Like I know
Yeah.
what gigil is.
Exactly.
That's what it sounds like. There.
Especially when they talk about people, oh, they're talking right now. Oh, do you know him and her? They're talking right now. If you would translate it to Tagalog, they're like, what? What do you mean they're talking? What are they talking about right now? Like,
Right.
It's different.
There's no direct
there's no
like
direct
translation.
for
Yeah.
it.
Is there anything that you would like to say, or maybe perhaps like what is something that you feel like is worth transmitting in terms of culture to like the next generation or to other Filipinos, given that it's October Filipino American History Month?
I think it's important for the next generation to kind of learn about the history of the Philippines and how we came about, how kind of our identity was taken away from us, and how we had to kind of build it up again so that we can develop an overall kind of united country.
I was raised to. I've always been like told since I was a kid, like education is your priority, and that's I still wish that it's something that can keep coming on to the generations ahead. Just because I definitely think there's power in knowledge, and I think that just how we are talking right now, I think that we're bringing light to it that you normally wouldn't be mentioned in just an average like school classroom.
I feel like as someone who grew up in the Philippines and someone who had the opportunity to actually experience this kind of lifestyle that I have here in America, before thinking of where you want to be in the future, you should first know where you came from. Like know your roots first before setting up that goal that I should be here. Know the fact that you came in this type of culture and you shouldn't like assume too much and stuff, because like it's a matter of hard work and perseverance. It's not just about just getting what you want, just flying on a plane and stuff. It's still, I mean, you should always like have your own balance between yourself and your culture, but it's good to like know where you came from first, because that sets up who you are as a person and how will you continue to venture all those stuff and those problems. If you're not gonna know how to do that if you don't know where you really are, where you're really from.
I will say that I think that sometimes people that are not familiar with Filipino culture, and I'm glad that you guys bring up things that are not like, oh, I want to transmit lumpia and Manny Pacquiao, right? The culture isn't just like the fun, the happy meal, right? It's that surface stuff. That is important, right? But there are certain values that Filipinos, we actually practice without us actually being conscious of it, right? And the very idea of, like I always think, when I think Filipino, I think resilience, right? Like we were enslaved by Spain for 300 years, and you think about Spain and how they conquered like much of Mexico, right? They say like Mexicans and Filipinos are like cousins or whatever because we have the same colonial master, right? A lot of the indigenous language of Mexico was erased, right?
Right.
Right? But like there was some, and I don't know how it went, and that's not to say that Mexicans were weaker than Filipinos, but like Tagalog language, Filipinos were able to preserve that, right? Like there's a lot of cultural customs. Like Kulintang music, have you ever heard of Kulintang music?
Yeah,
with the gongs.
we
Yes,
actually
yes.
played those
Yeah,
instruments
yeah.
when we were in 7th
They
grade.
literally buried those underground as a means to preserve, right?
And,
so like
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Filipinos, like the essence of who we are is worth risking our life for, dying for, and transmitting that. Right?
Yeah, besides like perseverance, also like what used to be a symbol for like oppression and subjugation, it was something that they build upon to make something their own. As in like jeepneys, for example, like jeepneys back then they were used to like transport from what I've been told, like people to like I guess to go to work for labor, and but now it's like part of a culture. It's something embraced. Like you think
It's
of
a source
Philippines.
of profit.
Yeah,
Well,
you think of
it
Philippines.
was a military vehicle.
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah.
It has war residue.
Right, right. Yeah,
Something
exactly.
traumatic, which now is
It's something beautiful, you know.
It's-
It's
Now it's
something
part
that
of
we
the normal
culturally.
lifestyle.
It's something we culturally
Right.
embrace, and I think that's something that I value as a Filipino too.
right. The idea to take something potentially painful and make it something, great. Like I could look at jeepneys all day. I think they're just one of the most beautiful things ever. Like
Except the pollution.
I used
except the pollution.
my
or
my
falling off. I don't want to be there when someone falls off. I've
My
seen
grandpa,
jeepneys stacked.
you know when I said that he used to be like a jeepney driver, he had my name on the top of the
Oh,
jeep.
me too.
Wow.
My name was on top of the jeep. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Cheska. And I remember I would always take pictures of jeepneys with Jessica on it because I felt like it sounded like my name. So I was like, oh,
Close
Jessica, it's
enough.
still mine. Yeah, close enough.
Yeah.
So you had your name on a jeepney.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, no, I wish they had jeepneys here. I would totally ride one.
That would
Free
be
shuttle.
amazing.
Inside. Not on the
It's
roof.
more advanced.
Well, I want to thank our guests. I think we went a little bit over, but that's fine. This is the first one. I'm supposed to have a sign off here. Okay, that's it. I'll just stop it here.